This girl was known throughout school as the ugly Scarface Sarah, but Mike had secretly admired her for 3 years, and he decided to confess his feelings to her on prom day. The much-anticipated prom night for Oakwood High had come. The gym that used to hold PE classes was now adorned with starry backdrops, moon-shaped props, and twinkling lights, creating a dreamy night under the stars atmosphere. The room was filled with nervous anticipation and bubbling excitement. In the far corner of the room was Mike. His mind was wrestling with anxious thoughts about his impending confession. Mike's eyes darted around the room, searching for Sarah. Suddenly, all heads turned as a captivating figure entered the room. She was a vision of beauty in her gown, her hair cascading down her shoulders. It was Sarah, but something caught Mike's eye. She didn't have the scar. Mike trailed behind Sarah the whole night. He was unable to get a moment alone with her, as most of their classmates who used to tease Sarah now wanted to talk to her. At the end of the night, Sarah was even crowned as the prom queen. With all the attention that Sarah was getting, Mike suddenly felt small and unworthy of her. He left without telling Sarah how he felt. Little did he know, Sarah watched him go, wishing he had stayed. After graduation, Mike threw himself into work. By age 35, he was already the CEO of a publicly traded company. But even after all his success, Mike was not happy. He felt like something was missing in his life. Like most days, Mike was walking along Riverside Park on his lunch break. But that day, Mike saw 3 kids fall into the river. Without hesitation, he jumped into the river and tried to save all 3. The 3 survived, but his heart just gave out. The next thing Mike saw was his body in the ICU. He felt his soul teetering on the edge of life and death. That was when he saw her, Sarah. She had grown only more beautiful with time. She was a nurse now. Seeing him in the ICU, Sarah took Mike's hands in hers. She whispered something in Mike's ears. I wish we had been braver back in those days. Mike wanted to say something back to Sarah, but he couldn't. He felt a ringing in his ears as his consciousness started to fade into nothingness. The next time Mike opened his eyes, he found himself back in his old high school classroom. He looked at the mirror, and he was 17 again. Then it hit Mike. If he was back in school, then Sarah would be here too. He ran through the corridors and the classrooms, frantically searching for Sarah. Mike found Sarah sitting in the corner of their homeroom. She looked sad, her gaze cast downward. It was understandable. That was the time that Sarah was still teased as the ugly Scarface Sarah. Prom was still months away, so her transformation has not happened yet. Just as Mike gathered the courage to approach her, the school bell rang, signaling the end of class. Everyone hurriedly went out of the classroom. Sarah stayed behind to get a hot dog from her backpack. She quietly ate it. Mike felt a flurry of emotions upon seeing this. Then, he had an idea. Mike went to the canteen and bought a roast beef sandwich with fries. He hurried back to the classroom. As Mike approached Sarah's desk, he placed the sandwich beside her. Sarah looked up. Confusion filled her eyes as she glanced from the sandwich to Mike, uncertain of his intentions. She gently pushed it away and continued eating her hot dog. Mike, in an act of recklessness and desperation, grabbed Sarah's remaining hot dog and gulped it down in 2 bites. Sarah was taken aback by Mike's sudden action, her eyes widening in surprise and disbelief. Mike grabbed the roast beef sandwich and offered it to Sarah, saying that it was his apology for eating her hot dog. Sarah accepted the roast beef sandwich from Mike. A coy smile played on her lips. With a mischievous glint in her eyes, she cut the sandwich in half and offered a portion to Mike. As they continued to eat the sandwich, Sarah gave Mike a knowing smile, subtly suggesting that next time, he should just ask her out directly. Mike's laughter filled the room. And so, this marked the beginning of their journey, one that was filled with the promise of love and the magic of second chances.